ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Terribly named, but let's talk about attention for a moment because that is involved. Not in the way that we think, but that's another video. For now, let's look at attention. In my work with my clients with ADHD, fundamental to my work, in fact, is teaching mindfulness, awareness, insight. It's teaching paying attention. It's teaching attending to what's going on in here. Because if we don't know what's happening inside, in here or there, or just, our thoughts, there's so much going on, we're thinking too much, the mind is full. We need to be aware of that, know what that's like, and be able to see what's going on. We're feeling too much, too many emotions, feeling it all. We need to be aware of what we're feeling. We need to be able to give attention to all of those feelings. The sensations, the sounds, the feelings, the textures, the input, the sensory input that's overwhelming, that sometimes we take all of it in all at once. We need to be able to notice what we are taking on. We need to be able to pay attention to it in order to manage it. Because otherwise it's just a wash. We're afloat, we're adrift in a sea of just being bombarded with input, external and internal input, just non-stop noise. And the reason that we need to slow things down and practice the ability, and it really is, it's a skill. It's a skill that we develop through practice of being attentive. Attending to what's going on inside. And the reason that it's so important is we need to be able to look at what's going on before we can manage it. If I had behind me in this wonderful wall here, it could be full of I don't know, mold or rot or structural problems. And sometimes the only way for me to know that for sure is to pull a hole in it and look inside, or do some testing, whatever, do some exploring to make sure I know what's actually going on in there. And then, and only then, can I fix it? Can I do anything about it? But often with ADHD, there's so much that it's simpler not to look, or safer perhaps, so we don't. We spend our lives avoiding tuning in, because if we tune in, we so quickly get overwhelmed. And so we, in fact, tune out on purpose sometimes. So we need to stop and pause and pay attention through active practice. I like to use breathing, because if I'm sitting and focusing on my breathing, well, I've kind of tricked myself into being mindful, haven't I? Without having to just sit there and meditation for a lot of my clients with ADHD and people with ADHD is a scary and terrifying word, because if your mind is crazily noisy, most of the time if someone says, hey, go meditate, what you hear is, hey, go sit on the floor and just be bombarded by thoughts. It sucks. No one wants to do that. It's not a pleasurable thing. But that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is find ways to practice being able to sit and notice how many thoughts are going on. Because those thoughts are probably those thoughts are occurring whether you're paying attention to them or not. It's really the point of what I'm trying to say here. Those things are happening to us. They are happening to you. They are happening to me at all times. And given that that's the case, I could either be noticing them and therefore managing them, or going, oh, no, I don't want to hear all this. It's too much. La, 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 la. Yeah, it's not effective. We need to develop the courage to take charge, the courage to actually tune in to something that could be overwhelming. And in order to do that, we need to feel competent that we can listen, competent that it's going to be okay to listen, to tune in, and reassured that it's worthwhile to do so. Because we can't deal with the thoughts or emotions that we're having if we don't know we're having them. And so quickly these things can sneak up on you. Just as, it doesn't take much. If we lose our attention for just half a moment, suddenly something can happen. I don't know if you've ever walked a dog and your mind, you're with it, you're paying attention, it's great. And then you look away for half an instant and you turn around and the dog has something in its mouth. A gross dead bird, perhaps. You go, how did this happen? Well, you stop paying attention for that split second, and sometimes it's all it takes to really throw us off our course. So we must practice actively and persistently and consistently paying attention in order to manage all of the things that are going on inside. And at first it's scary. At first it might seem really challenging, but I want you to hear this. It's not hard, it's just foreign. And with persistence, it gets easier and easier. And in the days and weeks and months, etc. to come, I will be sharing more and more actual specific strategies, techniques, and breathing things, or things that you can do that will trick you into being more mindful. To bring you to that state of present awareness that we're looking for, rather than having to sit on the ground and meditate and be bombarded by thoughts. Any of you who are watching and have been tuning in for these daily uploads since the start of the year, hey, thank you. I appreciate you and I see you. Thank you so much. And any of you who have been reading between the lines, yeah, there's lots going on for me behind the scenes. There always is, there always will be. I have ADHD, my life is full and busy and kind of chaotic and crazy. And I wouldn't have it any other way, but lots is happening. And finally, I'm finding the stability I've been looking for a few days. I've arrived at a place that I've been trying to get to for some time. I mean, quite literally, I've been finally in the building that I want to be in for the next little while. And once I've really settled in, I'm looking forward to finally churning out a whole lot more content on a fairly, a little bit of a higher quality. I can't wait for that. I'm not going to make any promises or guarantees because I don't want to create any pressure or expectation for myself. To manage my ADHD, I need to follow the pleasure and the passion and the joy. And pressure is the antithesis of that. But I'm excited. And I hope you are too. And thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching this. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, you know what to do. And I shall see you tomorrow.